Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about purpose. I mentioned in a previous audio about the inner world and the outer world. And just to continue and expand on that, when you think of your life's purpose, what comes to mind? For most of my life's purpose has been something external. Even though for most of my life I have been trying to be spiritual, it has often been an external goal, somewhere that I have to get to, something that I have to achieve. I have to achieve being spiritual. I have to meet the goal of being liberated. Upon listening to a recent video by Eckhart Tolle, he described your primary purpose as your practice of being in the present moment. And as we've covered on previous audios, there is only being. There is only consciousness. And so, the primary purpose for me is connecting with that consciousness, being in that consciousness. And that is the act of not thinking, which is not really an act, it is almost a letting go. Because our mind thinking is almost a layer on top of who we really are. So primary purpose is being, the I am, being the space, being empty, being open to everything, being aligned to what is. And the secondary purpose is your life situation, where you live, your job, your family and friends, your relationships, your life situation. That is almost a secondary purpose. And this almost, there is a saying that things are turned upside down, but this is even beyond that, because it's not about thinking in a new way. It's about stepping away from the mind completely. That is not to say you are denying the mind or denying thoughts. Thoughts will always occur. That is the job of the mind, but you can tune in to the present moment, and you can begin the practice of not thinking, which is not a doing. It is a space where this becomes effortless. No willpower is needed. There is simply a letting go, which is almost the opposite of doing things externally, which is often many people's life purpose, to achieve something externally, to become a doctor, to reach a certain level of a success. But now, realizing the primary purpose of being, you are simply letting go or allowing things to fall away, and this will happen naturally. The more you are in the present moment, what doesn't serve the present moment will fall away, such as thought patterns, emotional patterns, certain things that you do in your life. If it doesn't seem to align with being, then this will come up as a conflict. You will realize that this no longer serves you. But the primary purpose is simply being in the present moment, because simply by dwelling in that place, the outer world will almost serve you. It will align with your inner world. And that's not to say you're doing this to create a better life situation. It's simply a byproduct of being. And I've mentioned this previously. When your attention is focused on that space between thoughts, where there is a vast openness, a peace that rises within that space, then you are aligned with the universe. You are aligned with what is, and you are tapping in, or you are powered, supported by this universal intelligence. So much of this is not a case of figuring things out. The more you deepen in this practice, the more you dwell in the space of being, things will be uncovered, understandings will be uncovered in time. So perhaps if you are listening, and whatever stage you are at with your practice, consider the concept of primary purpose and secondary purpose. So for me, every part of my day, I am living that from my primary purpose. Whether I am driving somewhere, in the driving, I am being present. If there is music playing, I am listening with attention. If I am talking to somebody, which is slightly more challenging because you're engaging in your mind perhaps a little more, but there is a possibility of space as you are listening. space as you are talking. So that's what I am currently focused on at the moment. And just to give a small example, I returned home today to do some weeding to uproot some weeds that have grown in our driveway, and it was not something I was looking forward to, but I made that action into a primary purpose. I put on some Zen music, Zen meditation music, which you can find on YouTube, and I simply took it one weed at a time. And this may sound very simple, but being in the present moment, living this practice, is ever so simple. And sometimes our mind may intervene. It may say, surely it can't be this simple, can it? That's only because living from the mind, there is many complexities to thoughts, complexities to emotions. To achieve something can be complex. There are many steps involved. So we've come from living in a very complex world to something that is beyond simple. And sometimes that shift may seem surprising to the mind when the mind interferes. So perhaps this can be reflected upon in how you live your days, or I should say how you're living in this one and only moment, which is now. Are you living that from a place of presence? And perhaps can you consider this to be your primary purpose in life? To live from this space of peace, this space of simplicity, of nurture and support, from the ultimate intelligence that dwells within each and every one of us, in every cell and atom, in everything that we see. I wish you well, and shall talk to you again very soon.